Hello, and welcome to CVXX. Hello,
Hi.
From Guff.
Hello. Hi. Guft Industries.
CVXX.
That's a V.
That is a V up there.
That is a fucking V. That is a V.
Does it stand for Consolvania XX? Consolvania XX. No, it does not. It stands for CVXX, and it is a V. It's not a U. Ryan, what are you holding there?
Cartier cigarettes. Pearl-tipped luxury slim cigarettes.
The cigarettes are back. And 1990 is where we are.
Italian 90s happening. This is Time magazine from 1990. March 1990, I think it is.
Wow.
I think it's March 1990. Let me just read a wee article for you that I've marked
I would love to hear
in the back here, right? It's right at the back of the Time magazine. Taking away his credit cards is the name of the article. To Scott bankruptcy, Trump agrees to give up command. And this is an article about how
You don't have any cards.
every single one of Donald Trump's assets have been seized by the banks because he owes them so much money that he can't make the interest payments. So he's been given an allowance to live on by the bankers, and every financial decision that he has to make has to go through the banks. And the banks will hold these assets until they raise in value and they feel like they can get their interest payments back. So how we went from there in 1990 to where we are now,
It's a mystery.
the Lord only knows.
It's a mystery. Welcome to CVXX. It's 1990, and can you believe it? There's more content.
The Manhole on PC Engine 1990 is the first game that Guft have directly instructed me to review. This is a game that was originally released on Mac by Cyan, who eventually ended up making Myst and Riven and stuff like that. And what The Manhole is an adventure stroke exploration game that has you investigating a manhole. From that manhole springs a giant beanstalk, which you can climb. You climb up, and up, and up, and eventually through a hole in the sky to another sky, in the dark, in the woods, where there's the moon and the shooting star that illuminates a lamppost. And there's a door. And this is a game that Guft, right since we started doing CVXX, they've said, Rab, you have a PC Engine. Could you cover this version of The Manhole? And eventually they ordered it for me from Japan. Here I am now in a rabbit's house. There's a guy on the telly. I wonder what the rabbit has to say about things. Anything else on TV? Nothing else on TV. Let's talk to the rabbit, see what the rabbit wants.
温かい紅茶を一杯いかがですか
He's giving me a cup of tea. It's alright, he's just giving me a cup of tea. I'll have a cup of tea. Yes, please. And yeah, click on it to drink it. I want to drink my tea. Well, that was nice. Okay, bye then. Right, I'll go through this door then. Oh, okay, there's the beanstalk again out there. Open the window, close it, open it, close it. That's fun. Open. That's fun. Let a bit of air in. There's a painting there. Fireman's hat, I think. Just interact with this. Yeah, I was right. It's a fireman's hat. That's a sombrero, I think.
Static.
Yep, I was right. A sombrero. And this is a...
Painting's sad.
I was just noticed it's got a distressed face on it, that hat.
It's sad.
That's
The painting's
interesting.
sad.
Okay. And just... I wonder what's in
Don't
these
open the
drawers out here.
Don't open the drawers, Rab.
Let's see.
Don't open them.
There's a wee single red rose in the pot there. There's an A to Z. Sorry, what was... Okay.
L はラブの頭文字だよ。
L is for love. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So this is for Guffed. The time I've spent with this game has been quite magical. Here's a dragon. Now I was looking at a book and now I'm in a room with a dragon and he's offering me a biscuit. I really treasured the time I spent with this game. It's a game that sprang from old tech. You know, when people were first working out how to do interactive stuff on computers. And a lot of dead ends maybe appeared on that road. And because of that, things like the manhole have a magical, haunted feel about them. Feels like a haunted game, if it is a game. I'm going to go back and see what else is doing that manhole.
Camel fags, anybody?
Fags are not anything I've ever indulged in. I've never
No,
smoked.
you've never been a smoker fag, have you?
I've never smoked a fag in my life. Never even tried one.
No?
No.
No curious?
No, I've never been curious to.
Never saw me first thing in the morning when I'm hawking my guts up, unable to breathe, and thought, I'll give that a go.
I was never curious. I'm thankful that it isn't something I've ever tried because I'm not sure how great my willpower is, if I'm being honest.
You might love it.
Yeah.
You might get mad into it.
Anyway, let's blast straight into 1990. Would you, before we get started, would you like to hear the top 10 music singles of 1990?
Go on then.
Of music, of pop, of the singles, okay?
This is UK.
And well, I think this is yes, I think this is, all right? Number 10, it's The Power by Snap. I got the power.
You've got my coffee.
How do you know?
Because you get, I wanted a white coffee and you've got a...
Swap
Have
it.
you drank out of it?
I had one sip. It's just me. Fuck's sake, man. We used to kiss and all that.
It was just practicing.
Oh,
wasn't it,
Jesus, we can't reach. Please don't film this.
No, you can't.
Guffed will not like this. Take that. Oh, Mike, have you got it? Right, sorry, that was us switching over our coffees. Number 10,
Carry
I
on.
got the power by
Snap.
Snap. Do you like that song?
I do it.
There we go. 9, we've got World in Motion by the England football team in New Order.
Happy end to that story.
I was a happy into that story of fucking... And that was Keith Allen and all that, wasn't he?
Oh man,
Keith Allen.
I forgot
what
that he
a
existed.
Fucking prick.
London Bossack.
Fucking Keith Allen. Fuck off, you fucking prick.
You watching this, Keith?
Hey, Keith, I hope you're watching this. I hope all yous, David Icke wankers, that all of your fucking Keith Allen are all watching this. Number 8 is Vogue by Madonna.
Good song.
Great song. Vogue, 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 Vogue.
Good.
Dub Be Good To Me by Beats International was at number 7.
God. Oh my
Be
God.
good to me.
I had that on single.
Oh, it's not for me, that song. It's not my kind of music. Maria McKee is in there at number 6 with Show Me Heaven. Show me heaven, come to me. What was that from, that film? Was it Days of Thunder, maybe? That film, that song.
I can't even.
Something like that. Something Tom Cruise related, I think. Adamski is at number 5 with Killer.
Adamski also features in a television programme that we'll be discussing in this very episode.
It does indeed. And number 3,
Yo, VIP. Let's kick it. Ice, ice, baby. Ice, ice, baby. All right, stop.
and number 3, we've got Elton John with Sacrifice. It's no sacrifice.
Do you like Elton John?
Just a simple word. Yeah, I do. I mean, I'm no an Elton John fan, but I like Elton John stuff. And by all accounts, a lovely man. I know people who have known and met him. A good guy.
Oh my God, have you seen that clip of him on holiday in Spain?
I don't think
Oh,
so.
I'm going to have to put it in now that I've said that. There's a clip of him on holiday in Spain and it looks like your fucking 80-year-old auntie.
Get it on.
We're live.
From the phone.
Yeah, but we're live.
We're live. Well, how are you going to play it?
He's got it lined up, ready to go.
A good egg. A good egg. Elton John, there he is. Number 3, Sacrifice. This is the best-selling songs of 1990. At number 2, it's Sinead O'Connor with Nothing Compares to You.
Written by Prince.
Written by the Master. And at number 1, it's Unchained Melody by the Righteous Brothers. So that's it. That's the kind of music that's
Was that in
happening.
a film or something? That how come it's?
It was in Ghost.
Oh aye.
It was in Ghost. Starring Patrick Swayze, sadly departed now, and Demi Moore, who is back kicking a ball. Let me tell you,
Fucking good.
what a fucking
Shit hot.
what, that film?
Aye.
Yeah, really good film.
And hot.
And what a specimen.
Can I just take a moment to say that in part 1, 1990, I'm proud of us because we got through talking about State of Grace for the whole time that we were talking about State of Grace, and we didn't talk about how good looking that lassie was.
Who, Robin Wright?
Aye. She's that good an actress that you need to talk about that first, don't you? But she is.
Well, there you go. That is an interesting
stunningly
point because
beautiful.
she's absolutely beautiful in that film, but her performance is out of this world. Again, State of Grace, Sean Penn, Gary Oldman, Robin Wright, Ed Harris, John Turturro, John C. Reilly. You got to watch it.
Our bubbling up enthusiasm for films has resulted in a wee change to the format in this episode, actually, because we've only got one TV programme in this episode.
We've got a couple of films, we've got a whole load of games as always. And we start with a wee game. Let's take some game. Roll the game footage! Roll the game footage, Garth! Roll the game footage!
There must be something wrong with me because I have played this game, I swear to you, I have played this game hundreds if not thousands of times, and I call this game X Out. That guy just said, get ready for Cross Out. Cross Out? Never heard it. I'm not calling it Cross Out, I don't care. I don't care if the game makers want me to call it Cross Out, I'm not calling it Cross Out. Cross Out sounds like, I don't know, something that 1920s English schoolboy would play in the schoolyard. Cross Out. I'm not calling it Cross Out, it's X Out. It's the X that makes it cool. The wee rainbow arts thing underneath it ruins it a wee bit. X Out is a shoot 'em up and it has really good music and you go to different worlds. You get basically two levels per world is how X Out works. I don't know what the deal is with this footage. What are you doing, Ryan? There's so much title screen here. But the music, I'm listening to the music, that's why I left it so long. I always liked in the shop area of X Out the fact that nothing's explained. Now normally I'm not a fan of things not being explained, but it adds a kind of alien quality to everything. You don't know how much things cost until you pick them up and drag them onto the main screen. Nothing much is explained. The wee guy in the bottom right hand corner obviously eats things and you get a refund when you feed him items. You would obviously figure that out for yourself. Controls are pretty tight in X Out. Areas are really unfair. You need to really pay attention to surfaces. I know it's basically like it's a fatal crime for a shoot 'em up to have slowdown, but you honest to God need it in this. When I say you need it, I mean I need it. I need the slowdown. I need things to slow down. I'm talking about X Out still. I'm talking generally a wee bit as well. I really need things to slow down. Otherwise I'm going to have a collision. It's very hard, X Out in my opinion. There's various words you can use when shoot 'em ups. If you feel as if you've been mistreated by a shoot 'em up, there's many different words that you can use. You can be straight up, I think, and neutral and say that's a hard game. Or you can go the other route. I would say probably a route of cowardice and say that game is a cheat. That game's unfair. I'm gonna cheat this game. That's what I'm gonna do because this game's a cheat. As you can see, I've taken the route of cowardice again. 500,000 credits have just appeared in my account, so I'm going to spend them and I'm going to load out 3 of the top. Basically, from top to bottom, things get better and more expensive. The cheapest things are at the top and they get more expensive and more powerful as you go down. Here's me with all my drones firing big powerful lasers and shielding me for bullets as well, so we should go on a hell of a lot better. To be honest, Maybe I'm just able to say this because I can more easily excuse away being a dirty cheating bastard. But I think this game is actually vastly improved by cheating. It's cooler to have access to all the cool weapons, and you need them because, as I stated earlier, the game's a cheap swear word. It's a cheap a wee son of a bitch is what it is. The level design sometimes in this game, a wee son of a bitch, and it's instant death. It's instant deaths that mainly tee me off. Sorry for such strong language. I have many fantastic memories of X-Out on the Amiga. Again, one of the better examples of the Amiga, and where Amiga has really hitting its stride in 1990. I think you can expect for the next few years a CVXX to be dominated by Amiga. I don't think I'm doing this right. It is not the first time I've said that while doing a review. Here's the end of the game. Back to the studio.
There we go, we're back. I love games.
I'm looking forward to doing games in the 1990s.
But it's 1990.
That was an intense time.
It's 1990. And last year, Batman arrived on the scene and made an impact.
Here we go.
1990, the marketing machine revved up again to bring to you, your man, Warren Beatty, in the latest blockbuster of the season, Mr. who I like to call one Mr. Dick Tracy.
Gangland enforcers broke the arms of an elderly news dealer this afternoon when he refused to share his week's receipts with them. Stacks of newspapers were tossed in the gutter as the thugs wrecked the business and made their getaway. Lunchtime crowds were paralyzed by the suddenness of the crime. Not a hand was raised in protest. Organized crime is their name.
Dick Tracy is a movie based on a comic strip that was in American newspapers, and nobody in Britain knew who Dick Tracy was.
Aye, that's just what I was going to ask. Who knows about that? Who the fuck is Dick Tracy?
Nobody knows who Dick Tracy is. This is going to be an interesting chat here on CVXX. I guarantee you this is going to be one for the ages. Warren Beatty is Dick Tracy, a detective in a police. He's a policeman.
Could you tell me 2 films that you like Warren Beatty in?
Oh, I mean, easily in a heartbeat. Bonnie and Clyde. And Dick Tracy. I like Warren Beatty.
I don't get his face. I've got a disconnect with Warren Beatty's face. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Is it the lower half of his face?
Anything. I'm not getting anything fair.
Right, he's getting ahead of himself. Warren Beatty is in this movie as Dick Tracy, right? But then you've also got Madonna as Breathless Mahoney.
She's a singer.
Also got Al Pacino as Big Boy Caprice.
He's an actor.
You've also got Dick Van Dyke as the fucking DA. You've also got Dustin Hoffman as Mumbles. You've also got... There's this... It goes on and on and on with all the actors of the day. They're all in there. They're all doing a solid for Warren Beatty. And they're here to tell this story of Dick Tracy trying to take down...
Is James Caan in this?
James Caan's in it. For one scene. They're all in it. Dick Tracy trying to take down, and this was a big marketing rollout. The Dick Tracy logo was everywhere. It was all over the place.
When you're watching
I saw this. The only other time I've seen this was in 1990 at the Pictures,
at the actual cinema.
At the actual
when the titles
cinema
are playing, which I thought were brilliant, by the way, and the Danny Elfman music is playing. I was like, this is Batman 2. It just seems like Batman 2 that I'm watching. But once the opening scene, well, tell a lie, the opening scenes are brilliant, and then there's like the scenes with all the faces, like all the guys playing cards and stuff like that with the big kids and all that, and I was like, oh, this is brilliant. Like this looks like an interesting world.
Yeah.
Doesn't he sustain though? Doesn't he sustain?
Jack, no help. King, no help. Well, little face.
There's a guy that, so the world is populated by grotesque characters. A guy called Smallface. There's a guy called Wee Heed. A guy called Wee Buzz. A guy called, it's all things like that in it. Tiny ears, big shiter.
Two cocks.
Wee sacks. Fanny Buzz.
I was wondering myself whether, you know, they were showing you the guys that had like quite a lot of prosthetics
Yeah.
and stuff. I was wondering whether they wanted you to see that first so that when it moved on to the main characters like Pacino and stuff like that, who's also wearing prosthetics, it made you accept it more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so. It's a very bizarre choice to have most of your characters, and again, some of them being some of the most famous actors in the world, all fucked up looking.
Aye, like
But they are trying to make it like the comic strip, and this is the kind of I feel like we're going to disagree on this film
okay.
because
I'm no holding off tipping my wink or tipping my hat or whatever.
Right.
If you want me to.
no, well, I just want to say that I thought this film was absolutely beautiful looking.
Sometimes.
I thought it looked absolutely beautiful. I was watching it and I was going, man,
you mean like the colourfulness and all that?
Well, how beautiful is it to see colour, right? And how beautiful is it to see... Because I thought, isn't just colourful, there's something else here, and I did a wee bit of looking, and Warren Beatty, who directed it as well, decided...
And produced it.
Yeah, who decided there was going to have a colour palette of like 7 colours. They were only using 7 colours or something in the whole film. No other colours. And so that really... jumps out at you, it's striking. It's all matte paintings. It's all sets and matte paintings and practical stuff. And I just think it's all split diopter shots and all that. It's like it's really and the camera never moves.
What?
The camera never moves.
What do you mean?
The camera never fucking pans or it's all static. It's all
all right, I see what you mean. Aye.
It you know, and I just thought, oh man, this is an absolute fucking pleasure to watch this because it just looks. And again, I haven't seen it in 35 years.
I loved Madonna's introducing shot where it zooms out of the city, kind of, and she's to the cafe bar thing. That was brilliant.
Again, everybody looks absolutely mental in it. And to tell you what the story is, just before we move on, so Dick Tracy is trying to take down these gangs, right? And Big Boy Caprice makes a move. Big Boy Caprice Pacino makes a move at the start to take over this speakeasy, this club that Madonna sings in, Breathless Mahoney sings in. And what he's wanting to do is he's wanting to muscle up. He's wanting all the gangs to come together. He wants to be the boss of all the gangs. Basically try to consolidate his power. Very simple story. And Dick Tracy is trying to take him down. But also, complicating matters, Dick Tracy takes under his wing a wee boy who's a wee orphan boy who doesn't even have a name. He's just called the Kid, isn't he? And Dick Tracy's taking him under his wing as Dick Tracy is trying to work through his relationship with his girlfriend Tess and whether he wants to settle down, take a desk job and be a family man.
She's his girlfriend in a kind of really early 20th century way where they're very, very formal about things and they probably know like properly kissed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They might have held hands, that they're in a relationship in that way, but they are considering getting married for that point.
But the situation is quite loose as well because she likes to be alone and to live alone, and she's a very independent woman and she grows flowers and Dick Tracy obviously as well. He
shoots baddies.
Obviously we all have mobile phones now these days, right? And we have supercomputers in the palm of our hand. That fucking watch is still cool.
It is,
It's still cool. Dick Tracy's got a watch that a voice comes through. That's all it does, really. Dick Tracy! Just voice comes through, and it's still cool. It's still a cool thing.
When he's trying to sort his relationship out and stuff like that, he'll get a call going, "There's a guy down at the docks. There's this gunfight."
Yeah. And I wish they'd almost like... One thing I wish they would have done in this film is leaned into the kind of comic nature of some of that a wee bit more. I feel like... I mean, it is light, and it is funny.
I don't know.
It could be lighter and funnier, I think, even. There's things I liked in it that I think you maybe wouldn't like.
Visually, I definitely liked it.
Did you like the bit Big Boy Caprice Pacino is doing the kind of choreography stuff with the...
First note I wrote down was Pacino is quite subtle for a change in this film. It was a joke. There was a bit of sarcasm there because he's just fucking shouting every single one. He's like, he's screaming non-stop.
But I think it's all right in this case, isn't it? It's all right in this case. His performance in this is way better than his performance in Heat, for example.
He's
rotten in Heat.
I've rewatched Heat.
He's rotten in Heat. Let's not do this. Don't...
I mean, I'm not a Pacino fan, a later Pacino fan. I'm a fan of his early work. But I don't know. I just found this fucking film a wee bit much. Like, it got to the point where I'm like, I've had enough of this.
No, I mean, I just found it extremely pleasant. And what I found pleasant about it was I got the sense that everybody was having a laugh making it. Everybody was having fun making it. They were on these beautiful sets. And also, but not just beautiful sets though. I thought it was a really brave approach they've took, because there's almost like some of the sets, there's like no textures almost. It's like kind of really low. Do you know what I mean? It's like quite featureless, the sets, really primary colours and really featureless, and that's an aesthetic decision they've made to go, let's strip this right down to its fucking bare bones. There's barely any people in it.
The cast's actually quite small.
The cast is, and not just that, when you see a street scene or something, you'll see the main characters, but you're not going to see big crowds there or extras or anything like that.
No, they busy it up with AI these days, probably.
But they wouldn't, though. I think if Warren Beatty was directing it, they wouldn't, because Warren Beatty would go, nah, because see in the comic strip, you don't see crowds or not, you just see the characters.
It's making me think, you mind L.A. Noire? That kind of got criticised for being quiet as well, but that time back then, the streets were quieter.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I also think
I recently watched, I'm not going to show it in this, and might show it to people at some point, but the film that we made when we were like 17, 18.
Montgomery Tannock, pleased to meet you. I quite like the place you've got here.
It's quite new. These things that were happening about the house.
What, are you talking strange, talking Twilight Zone strange, what even are you talking about?
A wee while ago, well, it was about 4 weeks ago, before Christmas, I saw this hang out the back, and it was like me at the back. I'm ready for these!
Maybe what happened was like some kind of some kind of invitation. An invitation.
What do you mean, an invitation?
Show it to people at some point, but the film that we made when we were like 17, 18, just in our house, we made a wee short horror film thing. I think it took us about a year or something to make it, but I was looking at the street where my ma lives, no motors. You can't get parked in my ma's street now, but it's just jammed, but there's no motors back then. And this is like the 19 whatever we're talking about. I mean, Dick Tracy, we're talking about what, 20s? Is it 20s, 30s?
Yeah.
So streets were quieter, I suppose, or they could be.
So yeah, as an example, you've got a character called, as an example of how heavily they lean into what the comic strip was, they've got a character called Mumbles, played by Dustin Hoffman. You genuinely can't understand what he's saying.
Which begs the question, why would you give Dustin Hoffman millions and millions of pounds to be in a film to just make him unrecognisable and then like incomprehensible?
I just feel like a lot of these guys are just helping a buddy out, you know what I mean, as well.
Maybe. He's pulling strings, you mean?
Yeah, he's getting his mates in. Madonna, by the way, I don't know if you know this, but Madonna only get paid something like $35,000 for it. Right. She took scale. She took like basically the fucking equity minimum to date, because she was so keen to date, and I think the studio were a bit reluctant to cast her. And it was originally going to be what's her name? For Blade Runner.
Sean Young.
Yeah, it was originally going to be Sean Young. Sean Young, who as well was originally going to be Vicky Vale in Batman, so it's a bad couple of years of getting bust out of stuff. She would not have been right in Batman.
No way.
As Vicky Vale.
Or this, I don't think.
No.
Having said that, Madonna's one of the criticisms of the film. I mean, I didn't connect with Beatty, but I think this is probably why I'm not making it to the end of the film before I'm gone. I've had enough of this. I could do with this film being done. Is like I'm not engaging with Beatty because I don't get his face, but also Madonna, I didn't think I had the acting chops to.
This is the thing. I thought she's really good in this. For what she's playing and what she's doing, and I think she does a really good job. And she looks great in it. She's like the perfect casting, I think, for a film like this. Although you could imagine a fucking Kim Basinger or something in it, couldn't you?
We've now established that when we're talking about an actress, we can actually make it through a whole conversation that without mentioning how good looking she is. But Madonna failed that test there because she looks great. She does look great.
Yeah, she does look great. She does look great. But the film, though, what surprised me about this film, watching it again and again, hadn't seen it since I was a wee guy, since I was 13, was like there's a kind of surreal energy about it that is almost genuinely almost reminded me of David Lynch films.
Right.
There's a surreal energy about it that reminds me of the most recent series of Twin Peaks. Has a slightly Dick Tracy energy about it. Like that character that Dale Cooper becomes, whatever his name is, I can't remember. Who likes the coffee?
I can't believe I've forgotten because they fucking rammed it down my throat so much.
Yeah,
Dougie
or something.
Jones,
right?
Dougie Jones.
Yeah, something like that. And there's a kind of Dick Tracy energy about it. And I thought, well, Lynch does work in the kind of areas of like old Americana, doesn't he? He works in this kind of vintage area as well a wee bit. I thought to myself, I bet David Lynch could have made an interesting Dick Tracy film. But anyway, it does have that kind of energy about it. It also has songs by Stephen Sondheim. So the songs that are on it are all fucking magic. They're all magic. All these songs, they all feel fitting of the time, and they're great songs. They don't even really feature them that much. They just kind of dance back and forth for them. But there's also an oddness about it. Like, do you notice how spitty everybody is in it?
I did actually. It's probably the masks.
But Madonna as well. There's a part where Madonna's hanging when you see a big bit of saliva or a mouth, and I saw this a couple of times, and I was like, why are we seeing that? That's an odd thing. And then I was wondering, I wonder if there's anything ever in the cartoon strip or anything where you see. I just it was an odd thing you don't normally see in a blockbuster.
Hey! That was a silly thing to do. He's the best piano player in town.
Obviously Pacino's very spitty, but he's very spitty all the time in these things. Was this was a kids film? Was it a PG?
Oh, I've not got a clue.
Or was it older than that? Or was it a 12 or something?
Nah.
Because you see Madonna's tits in it.
Nips.
The whole lot.
I missed it.
The entire...
How
would you have missed that?
How could I have missed it?
Dick Tracy goes back to her place, I think, and she comes out and she's got like a black see-through negligee thing on, and she's like naked under it. And I just thought to myself, I thought this was a kid's thing. Because that's the only reason I can work out for the wee boy being in it. The wee boy is supposed to be, because how were kids supposed to engage with this world where everybody's...
This is what I was also doing that. I'm not anti-BT. I didn't think Madonna was up to it. But also I'm going like, this is out of date. This seems like something that Dick Tracy, that Warren Beatty wants to, like, this is the film that Warren Beatty wants to watch, but who the fuck wants to, like, Waynes don't want to watch a film that Warren Beatty wants to watch. This is Warren Beatty making a film about his childhood, like a hero that he remembers, but that's done.
Yeah.
Like, the film's supposed to be for the folk that went to see Batman the year before.
But then Batman was also, though, I mean, we can be revisionist about this all we want, but Batman, when I first heard the hype for the Batman movie, my feeling about Batman was that he was a character for the 1960s, for a campy show for the 1960s. It wasn't the comics. It was the hype for the film that made me read the comics, right? But when the Batman film first got introduced, it was Adam West in the 1960s in that campy. So is Dick Tracy really that, for the average person, is Dick Tracy really that far away from... I mean, Batman was a character created in the 1930s and all, you know?
I know, but because it's Batman...
No, he feels modern, Batman.
You can do that with Batman, though. You can reinvent and reimagine, but Dick Tracy's always in that. He's always got the trench coat and the cowls and stuff.
No,
so
that's
he's
true.
in that time.
You got me there, actually, so I'm just... You've completely... You've
PG,
done me.
apparently.
He's done me there.
Oh, he's done him there.
He's done him there.
He's done him.
Beautiful point. Beautiful. But listen, come on now. A guy with no face turns up, fucking Dick Van Dyke's there, he's looking dead young. Dick Van Dyke, not to spoil anything, but Dick Van Dyke gets shot at one point and he just has a big fucking bump, his cell. He just goes, I'll do it. And you can imagine Dick Van Dyke must have been about, what age? He's 100 now.
60s.
So he must have been in his 60s when he was doing this. 65 or something, and he's gone like, I just shoot me, I'll just fucking bounce off that bed and collapse on the ground myself.
Chief O'Brien shows up at some point in this film.
Chief O'Brien shows up. There's a beautiful cemetery shot. There's all these. When Dick Tracy fights guys, he does things like he punches them right through light shades. He swings a punch and knocks down 7 guys at once and all that. And these all happen in kind of montages and stuff. It's not very action heavy.
There's a good few montages in this film.
It's not very action heavy though, is it?
No.
The action kind of happens in the montages.
A lot of the story, in fact, which is, I mean, I've never fucking edited a feature film, so I don't know what I'm fucking talking about. But a lot of the time, a lot of the story is progressed through montage.
Well, the story is barely there.
Sometimes I just thought it was a wee bit.
The story is barely there, and the twist is quite obvious. But still, there is something about this film that, like I said, I had an immense amount of pleasure looking at it, and some of the shots were so beautiful. I love a split diopter shot. Some of these shots were so beautiful, and the matte paintings. And just sometimes it would go to a room. There was even just a shot of Tess, and she was just sitting at her table in her room, and I just thought, that's like a fucking painting or something. It's beautiful looking. And I think maybe at the time when films were reaching out to this, to maybe a mere photorealistic effect kind of thing, that maybe this would have landed a bit strangely with people. But I think when you look at it now, when everything now, you go and see a blockbuster nowadays and everything has this fucking flat grey look about it. Mm-hmm. Nothing pops. You don't get excited about any fucking frame that pops up on it. So to see something like this where you're just like, you know what, they've went, this will be nice. Why don't we do this? Why don't we? I love the shadows in it. I thought to myself,
you said that Madonna looks fantastic in the film, but I actually thought sometimes there's shots when she's coming in and out of doorways and stuff like that. There's something about the way that it's lit is lit in a really kind of stagey way.
Yeah,
but
100%.
sometimes she slips out of the shot and you do see like a wee bit of shadow that you shouldn't, or a face position that makes her look less glamorous.
Yeah.
So that was interesting to see that everything's kind of, it's almost done for like a still, rather. It's kind of stagey and still, and old fashioned, I suppose.
No, I'm going to go further here.
But I love that it's like a load of craftsmen are working on it. You know, I love model shots and things like that. I just found the film a wee bit laboured, I think.
I'm going to go further. Do you remember Steven Soderbergh, the great director Steven Soderbergh? He did he likes to do re-edits of things. Mm-hmm. So like, have you seen him? I think he did Raiders of the Lost Ark, and he took all the dialogue out or something, and he just to show you how well it works without even. And he does things like, I like to do re-edits. I'm curious about how Dick Tracy would look. Well, we cut down a bit of an edit to get it down to like, I think it's like an hour and 45 minutes or something like that. It's not a long film, but I think you could get it down to like
20.
You could get it down to like 80 minutes.
15 to 20 you can lose.
85 minutes or something. I wonder how it would look if you cut it down to 85 minutes and put it in black and white. Because even though I'm talking about how great the colour is, I suspect that if you went to black and white with that, if you pulled the colours out, it might be a very interesting looking film you're looking at. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I just think there's something there. I just think there's something there in that more than... Obviously, after Batman came out, there was a lot of kind of imitators that followed. I think this is way better than just another kind of imitator of that movement. I think it's, at the very least, you've got to admit that. There's more interesting going on here.
It's definitely interesting. I mean, I'm fully on board when there's like clearly craftsmen and stuff like that involved with the process. I just wouldn't say I'm a fan of the film.
Well, there you go. That's Dick Tracy. Warren Beatty was 52 years old.
The wee guy in it, when the wee guy's like lived on the street and stuff like that, so he's a wee bit feral. And Warren Beatty tries to get him to brush his teeth. And the wee guy asks Warren Beatty or Dick Tracy why he's into this pansy stuff. Like brushing your teeth.
The wee guy's actually, it's interesting as well, because the wee guy pops up, and usually when a wee guy pops up in a film, you're like, oh fuck, here we go. But the wee guy's fine.
He's good.
He's good, isn't he?
They get his documentation in place, don't they? And is that what it is? And he's called himself the Kid.
Yeah.
I mean, that changes obviously later on, but he calls himself the Kid. But I love the way his delivery. Yeah, I'm going, what's wrong with the kid?
Yeah. And the casting is great, because the actress that plays Tess as well, like she's perfect. She's like gorgeous. She's like somebody out of 1920s.
She's like, she somehow manages to be plain, but also
like you absolutely would choose it over Madonna.
As well. Aye.
Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
So even though Madonna's this kind of glamorous, you totally get that Dick Tracy's like Nah, I've got Tess at home. I'm good. Anyway, I just think it's an interesting thing, and I think it's also an interesting thing for a guy at 52 years old being like, I'm going to make a big movie about. It's like me in 5 years going, I'm going to make a big 2000 AD film and get all my pals in it, and I'm going to be fucking Judge Dredd or whatever I'm going to be. And I respect that. I'm like, that's a fucking good hustle.
Aye.
Good on you.
I'm really dying to watch this Francis Ford Coppola
Megalopolis?
car crash, Megalopolis,
Yeah.
for the same reason that at least it's a passion project, but I hear it's atrocious. Have you seen it?
I've not seen it, but,
No, I'm dying to
but
do it.
listen, we need more people like this because everybody's making a lot of shite. So, so let's get back on the game train. What are you showing me
I'm
here?
just going to check because I've got loads of notes for this Q magazine. It's the 50th episode of Q magazine. I've left a post-it note next to this Iowa stereo. You remember getting excited about Iowa stereos?
It's easy for you to say.
I think I had one, but you don't seem to see them anymore.
No, I wonder if Iowa are still kicking a ball.
Maybe they've changed.
Is
their
that
name.
Paul Simon in there?
Paul Simon.
What's he saying?
He's saying if a job's worth doing,
It's worth doing right, I guess.
It's
So
worth
this
getting
was, when
Paul
was
Simon in
Graceland out? When did Graceland come out?
I don't know if that's what the article was.
Could it have been 90?
I don't think it was. No.
Later than 90, right?
I think so.
Something like 94 or
I've
something.
not got time to read the article right now. I only got this magazine yesterday. It was a bargain at $5. That's where we are now.
Beautiful. I mean,
Some amount of
a
adverts.
magazine is dearer than that today
I know.
than a $5.
Loads of adverts. Fucking loads.
Right, games.
Tower Records.
Oh, Tower Records.
What was the posting note?
Ryan, we used to love Tower Records, right? Back in the day, under the Hielanman's umbrella in
There was
Glasgow.
how many floors were there on the Glasgow Tower?
4.
4 floors, weren't
4
there?
floors.
Aye.
And it was open till like midnight. Okay, I would like to talk about Jackie Chan's action kung fu, if you would allow me. Jackie Chan!
For guys of a certain generation, guys like myself, Jackie Chan is and always will be the man. Here he is, fighting Benny Urquidez with his guy liner on in Dragons Forever. Magic. So it stands to reason that Jackie Chan's action kung fu on the PC Engine is a jewel in my PC Engine collection. Here he is, wee Jackie here. His girlfriend's just about to get stolen by some kind of Western Dracula. The observant among you will notice that it actually says 1991 here, but the reason why it's being featured on this episode, you just noticed there by the way that Jackie Chan was meditating under a waterfall at the start of this game, which is the kind of thing I think Ryan would do. If there was a game about Ryan rescuing his girlfriend, he would probably meditate under a waterfall at the start of it. He's a meditation guy. But yeah, you might have noticed it says 1991 at the start, but I'm featuring it because it came out in the NES in 1990, and then a year later this superior version came out on the PC Engine. Now, as action platformers go, I think that this game is way up there. You get to be Jackie Chan, running along the level, coming up against various enemies, some that fly, some that are in the water, some that are running along the ground with knives, a big tiger guy like this guy here, and you have a jump and a basic attack, the ability to charge up a projectile, but you can also, by battering a frog, you can also unlock special moves. So you have a variety of special moves that you can perform as well. So you really do feel like you're a martial arts expert. I like the fact that this PC Engine that has, remember, 2 buttons on its controller still managed to find a way to make you feel like you're a martial arts expert with a variety of moves you can perform. And the game is just a good time. It's a real good vibes game. The music's great, it's colourful, it's crunchy, it feels great to control Jackie when you're bouncing around the world. The character sprites are huge, the enemies are huge and full of personality. And while the game has a reasonable amount of challenge, it's one of the games that you can enjoy picking up every now and again, spending some hours with it, and getting to the end. Like, this game just wants you to enjoy being Jackie Chan. It should be fun being Jackie Chan. It must be amazing being Jackie Chan. Me and Ryan have a pal called Graham Hanna, and in his youth he was a mad Jackie Chan fan. And Hannah used to dress up as Jackie Chan. He was like a boy for Glasgow, and he would cut about with kind of jeans and a white t-shirt, and sometimes he'd wear a headband. He'd wear the fingerless gloves that martial arts experts would wear. That's what this game understands. We guys want to be Jackie Chan. Let us be Jackie Chan. This lets you be Jackie Chan.
Ryan, could you stop reading that magazine?
I'm struggling to see what it was that I actually put this post-it out here for.
Run the games.
Curtis
Run Ryan's
Mayfield
games.
has suffered a dreadful injury.
Oh, that was the year Curtis Mayfield had the injury on stage?
Yeah, it was,
Jesus Christ. Curtis Mayfield, great soul singer. I think a lighting rig or something fell on him on stage. Because fucking awful.
What my showman.
Right, what have we got next, brother?
Well, I better do a game bit as well. Go.
I've already introduced your game bit while you were
Alright.
fucking reading your magazine.
Well, let's do... Oh, I'll tell you what, I'm dying to do the next film. I'm fucking dying to do it. But maybe we should do
Just
the
calm
TV.
down, TV first.
TV. Get the TV out of the way.
If you were to say to somebody the 1990s, TV, what TV shows define the 1990s? Probably somebody would say, The Word. The Word. The Word. On Channel 4, The Word.
Spread the word. The word.
Hear that voice, the word. Your trousers are already done. You've still got your pants on, but your trousers are already done in anticipation of you might see something sexy. It's Channel 4.
You might see something. But this is episode 1 of The Word, which I believe aired at 5 p.m.
It did. They changed the time slot later on.
So this is...
Terry Christian says in this first episode that when he's showing you the lineup, which is pretty fucking star-studded for a magazine show, he's saying this is what you'll be seeing in the early next 18 weeks. So when the Word started, they were so confident that it was on for months. Fucking
Imagine
months.
getting 18 weeks of a teleseries.
We did, mate. We did.
Imagine getting 18 weeks of a teleseries. What is this?
It's a vintage poster that I got in my Q magazine for... what's his name? Brian Epstein's Savile Theatre show for 1967.
What the
Jimi
fuck?
Hendrix.
Very cool. And what's the other side? Anarchy in the UK tour, Sex Pistols. First.
$5. Bargain.
My daughter's going to see the Sex Pistols this year. No Johnny Rotten in the lead, obviously, but the rest of them. Well, apart from Sid Vicious, who isn't kicking a boy anymore. He's in the ground. So The Word, 5 p.m, presented by Terry Christian and Amanda Decadeny. Terry Christian is absolutely shitting himself.
Would you say that?
He's shitting himself.
Decadeny, does she fall into the category of posh totty? What do you say?
She's a wee posh totty. She's a wee fucking posh mash totty. If I get my hands on her.
Fuck. Chives.
Yeah, she would have been considered posh, and that was actually the idea. Channel 4 went, why don't we get a northern chap, get one of those chaps from up north and put him together with one of our lovely girls from down here. Fucking assholes.
Remember the Armando Iannucci sketch? We're so good at television.
Yeah, that's the people who came up with the word.
At television magazine show.
That's the people who came up with the word. 18 weeks. And it's an introduction, either to show you the star lineup. You get James Brown there going, "My name's James Brown, you're watching The Word, baby." And half his box, as he always was. You get Charlie Sheen.
Playing a guy that lives for adrenaline and death, basically.
You got a wee clip of Charlie Sheen saying he lives for adrenaline and death.
That was years before
he was in 2.5 Men.
That was years before he went right after rails as well, and he was already saying that. You've got Arnie on a balcony.
You get Arnie on a balcony. You get Sean Young. You get fucking Sean Young. Can you believe that Sean Young has had more appearances in CVXX than she's had in fucking anything else in her career? Fair bless. Let's raise one up to Sean Young.
I wonder how many
By the way, sorry, Sean Young says that she didn't get the part in Dick Tracy because she rejected Warren Beatty's advances.
Could be. Is she not saying on the word something about... She's talking about... She's talking about some kind of like sexual behaviour in the industry. Is she no? I'm sure there's a clip of her saying that. I'm pretty sure she is. She's talking about the antics that are happening in the industry.
She just didn't have the career you would have thought she would have had.
Is that true?
Do you like her in Blade Runner?
I like her in Blade Runner because I think she's really, really well cast in Blade Runner. But I don't know that she's like as accomplished an actor to have like a brilliant career. Just because you have a good performance in one film doesn't mean that you're going to have a really successful
what a great
career.
show this is, by the way. The fact that we're having a conversation about Sean Young's parts in 1990. Nobody else is having this conversation. Nobody else is having this conversation in the world just now, and you're listening to this or watching this.
Thanks to Guft
You're
Industries.
privy to this. Thank you, Guft, for this opportunity.
How's your diarrhea?
It's gone. It's
Really?
completely gone.
Okay.
It's completely gone. I had to up my dosage of the medication, but it's completely gone. It's
You look pretty fine.
the 35 times a day, but it's all good. So Terry Christine is shitting himself because this is live TV. And
As he
my
keeps
God,
saying, every time he mentions how calm he is, he mentions that it's live TV. He did a fucking better job than I would have done.
he kind of goes every 2 minutes. He kind of goes. I mean, I'm no nervous.
Also-
kidding on. He's always sarcastically being like, he's telling us he's shitting himself as well.
Aye. Also, like as I said before, we've covered pilot episodes, and I was having a wee quandary about whether that was the right thing to do because this isn't the word like Oliver Reed zone where the you've got like 200 pished studio audience guests and. Everything's still kind of finding its feet, so the atmosphere sometimes is a wee bit.
It's a wee bit. It's dead. It's like a fucking tomb.
So every time Terry Christian starts doing a piece to camera, he gets that moment where he's like hearing his own voice in the studio and going, "Oh fuck, this is happening."
It's fucking silence. The audience are completely dead. They if you get a sense that they're really flying by the fucking skin of their.
They're trying it out.
Pants.
They're trying it out.
The skin of their pants are flying by the skin of the seat of their teeth. So Adamski is the first performance on it. We're talking about Adamski earlier. He's a really incredibly boring performance. This is, by the way. Did you like it?
I was into it until he started singing, and then I was like, "What the fuck is he doing that for?"
Yeah, and then
But that got times two'd.
You've got the people dancing.
Now, I would be right in thinking from my very brief experience with TV, but would I be right in thinking that probably most of the lassies in that audience are like probably runners on the show and researchers and stuff like that, and people that work at the production company?
Some of them will have been probably, some of them will have been, but other ones will have been, it's hard to know with a pilot show like that, probably.
The studio doesn't look full. It looks, they've not got enough. For some reason, they've not got enough people in as audience members.
No, it's a very... and you can write in, by the way, they give you, see after the performance, they give you a wee thing where you can write in your address if you want to be a word dancer. If you want to come in and dance.
They're asking a lot of the audience, actually. They're asking you to send in celebrity pictures if you've got anything. They're desperate, basically, for content.
They're desperate for content.
To help the atmosphere, because they've not got much of a studio audience, and Terry at one point says that we were going to get Rosanna Arquette in the studio, but she's not available. I think it was just a joke that they were going to get Rosanna Arquette, but he says, well, we're going to get Rosanna Arquette, but there's something going on in her life just now, so she's not been able to make it. So they introduce Bill Dean, the actor Bill Dean.
Yeah, for Brookside, played Harry in Brookside.
Who's like a 60-year-old man.
Yeah, no, to be fair though, which is weird guessing it for a youth TV show.
For a youth magazine, for
But
like
Brookie was massive though. This is what I was thinking. I was thinking, is this a weird guest?
No, it fucking is a weird guest. Of course it's supposed to be a youth magazine show and they've got fucking Bill Dean on.
But Brookie was massive though at that time, and young people liked Brookie.
The whole time the whole guy's on and he just wants to have 5 pints and watch the football.
Terry Christine asks Bill Dean at one point what music he's into, and he's like, Bing Crosby. It's honestly like a joke we would do.
This is why you've just hit one of my favourite points in the whole episode, is when Terry Christian, who is constantly looking for filler and content and stuff like that to fill the links, says to Bill Dean what music in, and he says like Bing Crosby and names a few others, and then he goes, not much of them left now actually, and then Terry laughs. And then goes on to the next segment.
Terry Christian cannot fucking land a joke to save himself. He can't. See, whenever when his mind goes, right, this next line I've got to say is a joke.
I feel bad for him.
He starts fucking, he malfunctions the minute he's shitting himself. And he's a young man in this, you know what I mean? And this is the interesting thing as well. It's like you're looking at this as older men. You're looking at this young man on the studio floor at 5 p.m. on Channel 4, back in the time when Channel 4 actually had viewers, when people actually watched it. And the fucking terror he must have been going through was, you know,
He does
he's out there
something
on his own.
He does something similar when he's talking to Arnie on that balcony as well, which I'm still really curious to know how much they paid Arnie to talk to him on that balcony for 10 minutes. But he's so like he's got his arms crossed when he's talking to Arnie. And he's constantly trying to make shite jokes that are on the landing. And aye.
Yeah, he always makes kind of UK-centric jokes as well, and he also, you can tell every time he's looking at Arnie, you know he's thinking, fuck's sake, that's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
There's a bit Arnie's talking about,
into a wee bit.
He's talking about working out or something. There's one point where Terry Christian makes another attempt at a joke where he's saying, do you know the working out to impress the lassies or something like that? But Arnie like corrects him. He says, like, I wouldn't use that as a motivation for, but Terry Christian doesn't know what Arnie's on about when he's talking about work ethics and stuff like that, because he's just a wee weedy fucking smart arse guy.
Yeah. But he...
This is his first gig though, isn't it?
It's his first, I think it's his first big gig. It's as much as he's shitting himself and fawning over his words and is awkward as fuck. It's quite impressive as well. It's quite impressive to see a young guy like this.
As I say, he does a lot better than I would have done.
Running this show.
Oh, Gremlin could be good. Oh, is it Lotus? It could be Lotus. One of the few very exciting loading screens on the Amiga. Supercars. Is it Supercars? Still remember the music. That's Chet and Sally. I'm making it up. Supercars is a racing game you'll be unsurprised to hear. Just let me put my name in. In Supercars, you can buy, I think it's 6 different cars. All of them obviously super. Always found these exchanges quite fun. You can get better prices by saying the right things to the salesman that you're dealing with. More often than not, they'll throw you out for being cheeky. There are the 3 models of supercars. They're based on real cars. There's 2 different, what do you call it? 2 different types of the model. I don't know how cars work. Anybody that played supercars, definitely anybody around my age, fancied this cartoon lassie that worked in the shop. Would do inappropriate things like push her boobs. I shouldn't even tell you that. I'll get cancelled for saying that, but it was in the past and that was okay, so you would push her boobs sometimes. Nothing would happen. You wouldn't get like a better price or anything, or she wouldn't like phone the police, and you wouldn't get cancelled. You didn't even know about cancellations back in these. Anyway, Supercars. As you can see, top-down racing game. I'm alright at it. No as good as I used to be. I can't get my head around the oil slick things. The wee yellow guys don't give a fuck about it, they just drive through. But I panic all the time with the oil, I can't handle it. What? Oh, no, that was quite a good corner though. Inspired by Super Sprint. I'd never heard of Super Sprint when I was playing Supercars, I only know that now because I looked it up on the internet. Inspired by, in the games industry, as we all know, means it rips off Super Sprint, but it plays good. You push down the button to accelerate and you've got, if you're using a zip stick, you've got 8 motions to go through if you want to. That's me won, first place. This is the early laps. You get wee animated backgrounds and stuff like that. That's nice, isn't it? It really warms the experience up. It builds a wee world for you. You've got the lassie that works in the shop that I was telling you about her bibs. The salesman guy. Look at this shit show. Fucking 2 oil slicks right next to each other. That shouldn't have been allowed. You see the shadows there that the people on the crowds are casting on the. I like the details. It's got nice details. As you can see, I've upgraded my car. I seem to be attempting to upgrade it again to the big, as good as you can get. As you can see, I've run my engine into the ground, so I've decided it might be better to buy a new car than to pay up to fix the engine. See the woman's fingers moving in the background there, as I say, details. His fingers move as well. It's basically it's all happening. It's all happening in Supercars. See? You weren't expecting that. It looks good, it's dead good fun. As you progress, you upgrade your car, you have more laps and more opponents, and people start firing missiles at you and stuff like that, and it's a bit of a pain in the arse, to be honest. Gets a bit chaotic. Here I am, I've upgraded my car, and I remember this well for the olden days. I've upgraded my car and it's just too fast. I can't do anything with it. It's like I'm trying to drive a rocket around the track. Supercars has a sequel. It's called Supercars 2 and it's pretty much undeniably better than the first one. They make improvements. You get jumps and stuff. Weapons are more prevalent, as if I remember right, in the second one, but it's not out yet because it's only 1990. Supercars, oh my god, what a mess I'm making of that. Supercars is fantastic though and has always been one of my favourite Amiga games. So great to pick up a game and still find it playable, even to this day, all these many years later. I'm doing alright here, considering, I mean, I'm 5th. That's not alright, is it?
So they go to a VT, and it's a Smiths convention.
I fucking love this.
Genuinely at this point, so at this point I'm laughing at, God, this show's a shambles, right? This is the kind of great telly that you don't get anymore.
But do you know, does your thought process not go a bit like this? Because mine works like this is a shambles, oh God, I missed this.
Oh, 100%, because I can't imagine a telly show that would go there or do that. So it goes all these young people to a Smiths convention.
My glasses, but.
And you've got all these young men there, that all look like Morrissey, and this is like a couple of years after the Smiths have split up. And
people ask me if I'm sad, but I'm not sad because I've got Morrissey.
Yeah, like that. I'm not lonely because Morrissey's always there. And there's this young American lassie for San Jose that they must have all been fawning over themselves.
They must have been dying inside, sitting next to her on the bus.
Looking at her. And they're all going around, you know, they're visiting Strangeways prison and all of that, and they're visiting the Salford Lads Club, and it's like just a wee tour of notable Smiths and Morrissey. But imagine the fucking smell of gel on that bus, by the way.
I know.
It must be fucking stinking of gel.
See one of the wee guys.
You were a big gel wearer, weren't you, back in the day?
When I still had hair. I'm no ruling out. I'm no fucking ruling out that stuff done me, to be honest. Because I lost my hair at like 17, like 16, 17 I started to go bald, and I was a heavy gel user, so...
Yeah, I used a lot of gel.
I'm wondering how toxic they actually were.
I used a lot of gel and I used a lot of Inset hairspray as well.
Aye.
Inset was toxic as fuck. Did they ban it?
Aye. Well, I think it was ozone stuff.
Oh, Jesus Christ. But anyway, the interesting thing about the Smiths segment and about this Smiths convention is it's all about Morrissey, isn't it? Mm-hmm. It's like, it's just Morrissey. There's no mention of Johnny Marr. There's no mention of...
I mean, Johnny Marr's not really the type of guy that a religion gets formed around, but Morrissey is.
And when you see this, I always talk about the fact I went to see Morrissey.
And it's amazing because, like, he spent his whole life mistreating people as well. I read an amazing article in one of the music magazines decades ago about Morrissey having a pen pal.
Right.
And the pen pal, this was before he was famous, he had this pen pal, and he just, like, abused the pen pal, but definitely put himself way above the pen. Like, he was better than the pen pal couldn't get enough of being treated like that. But that's what he's done his whole life. He's put himself above everybody and been so arrogant. And anyway,
can you become a godlike figure though if you're no arrogant?
No, I don't think so. I think you have to put yourself above.
Yeah, I went to see Morrissey live some years ago with my sister.
Wow.
Glasgow? You don't know this?
No.
Glasgow. I'm trying to remember where it was. Can't remember where it was. But anyway, I went to see him live. I'm sure I've told you this before because I was absolutely astonished at what the crowd. I've never seen a crowd like that at any gig I've ever been to. I've been to a lot of gigs.
In what way?
Screaming and greeting.
Oh, aye.
Like guys about 50 ripping their and I'm not even lying here, ripping their shirts open and not unbuttoning their shirts, ripping their shirts open and pulling their clothes off and flinging their clothes up. Men, straight men.
I don't think that just happens in the UK either as well. I think South America, I think he has, like Mexico.
Yeah,
like
I think there's a
same kind of reaction.
And And you watch that and you go, what the fuck is going on here? And you can see here a wee bit of that spell that he's cast.
Yeah, but this is also like you don't see everybody that's on this bus. Like, to be fair, the coach, because the coach tour is around about all the Smiths locations, like significant Smiths locations.
Yeah.
To be fair, it does look packed to the coach tour.
I would love to. It looked great.
Aye. You don't see everybody.
You know they're goodies as well, these people.
Aye, I don't think they're. Well, having said that, we'll move on to they go to the youth club and they're all writing on the doors.
That wee guy.
The fucking wee guy. There's a wee guy on his BMX who lives in the area, and this social club is where his football team store their stuff. So he's pissed off that all these fucking Smiths fans
This is a
are
wee
turning
guy
up.
about 12.
Aye, with his tap off on a BMX.
He's like, you can't come and fucking write all the
it's
was.
so good. He's talking like a 45-year-old.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
It's
Aye.
great. It's a really great.
So they are mostly harmless, these Smiths people, but that wee guy on that bike was not fucking having this graffiti that they were leaving on his building, which was fair enough.
The next segment, Terry.
I like the Smiths fan who was standing next to the road sign and saying, I've come to see this sign because it means a lot to me.
Aye, that's right. And the lassie also says as well, they come to that iron bridge.
She's nearly greeting.
Yeah,
She's nearly greeting.
And it's an iron bridge that features in Steel Bridge. It features in one of the Smith songs, and she says that she would live on that bridge. She would sleep on it. She'd live on it with a sleeping bag.
She loves the bridge.
I wonder if she's still kicking a ball, that lassie. Fair play to her, man. Les Miserable is the next thing that Terry Christine introduces now. Les Miserable is an animation. Imagine a fucking show having an animation nowadays. You'd never dream it. And here's the gimmick. So Les Miserable was this depressed cartoon, and then viewers, they like some kind of performance piece or something to try and make him laugh. Unfortunately, though, there's no sound, so it doesn't work.
It's shite. It's really shite.
Terry has to busk it because there's no sound, so he has to do a bit of part.
They do it again, though. They do it again later.
They do.
The same bit.
Oh, they bring it back. Did you notice before they went to the adverts, they said...
You're talking about skeletons in the
we've got
closet?
Gary Glitter,
Skeletons in the closet.
Nicholas Mitchell, and Alistair Stewart. What skeleton in the closet do they all share?
Gary Glitter, Nicholas Mitchell, and Alistair Stewart all have the same skeleton in their cupboard. What is it? Find out after the break.
The word.
Obviously, this is before we knew about Gary Glitter's. It turned out to be... what was it? It turned out to be...
They've all been done for drink driving.
Which is pretty bad.
Shocking.
The word.
We asked you what skeleton these people had in their cupboards. The answer is they all have been convicted for driving over the limit.
Well, what naughty lads they are, and imagine this is like a family show, innit?
That is shocking. It's changed my whole view of Gary Little.
It made me laugh because I was thinking, oh God, this is going to be something really innocent, and it makes them sound as if they're all pedos. And then it actually turned out to be drink driving, so I didn't even really get the pleasure of it being a huge contrast because it's pretty bad. How about the adverts, by the way? I saw that Prudential ad for the first time.
I know, I wrote that down as well.
The Prudential advert, I know.
Really,
get that up, because that was a fucking blast for the past.
I want to be like Mummy. I want to be a princess.
I want to be blonde.
I want to be out late.
I want to be brown.
I want to be green.
I want to be next.
I want to be discovered.
I want to be in the Christmas.
I want to be a 12.
I want to be wrong. I want to be Colonel Mustard.
I want to be indoors.
I want to be secure.
Whatever you want to be in life, you want to be with Prudential.
That Prudential ad was beautiful.
I don't even think I realised what that ad was for at the time.
Want to be a 12! I always remember that, but the production on that advert is really
moneyed.
Sensational.
What are they? What are they? They're like a bank, aren't they? The Pro.
Yeah, something like that. But the amount of locations and stuff like that in the advert and perform, that's unbelievable stuff.
There was more adverts in the word than I was expecting. There's quite a lot of like film trailers and things like that were shown during the show, which I wasn't. I suppose that.
I mean, they were padding what fuck.
Aye, there was a lot. But basically, the whole show was padding. They
were showing a trailer for. They're showing a trailer for Wild at Heart and stuff with David Lynch.
I'm really surprised to see the trailer for
Bill Dean thought it looked pretty good. Bill Dean fancied going to see Wild at Heart, didn't he?
I just couldn't fucking get out of this. I couldn't get out of the fact that we were being on this youth magazine show and we're getting Bill Dean's fucking take on everything. And his take on most things was that he couldn't really be bothered having
Bill
a take.
Dean's got to be in the ground, isn't he?
Oh, fuck, aye.
Is he long on the ground? Let me check.
He must be.
Let me check.
I was really surprised to see a trailer for Rabid Grannies on that. I didn't realise it was as mainstream as that.
That's a significant thing for our past. Bill Dean died in the year 2000, actually. He only
Made
lived
it another 10 years.
Only lived another 10 year. So when was this, 1990?
Yeah.
He was almost 70.
And this, it looks it.
He was almost 70 in this. Yeah, there's a trailer for Rabid Grannies. There's a film, maybe we'll... Hey, was that
It's
1990?
87. I checked. It's 87.
Is it 87?
It takes that long in the olden days for
it to
films
come.
to filter through.
So then they did a segment called Mission Improbable, where I don't know what this fucking segment was, but they did talk about the fact that Michael Jackson was shooting an advert in LA. Did you know?
I was wondering whether we were going to make it past this. But
do you remember Michael Jackson was making an advert for, was it Coca-Cola? Pepsi? And his hair went on fire. Do you remember that?
Aye.
What did you make of it?
Bit of product placement in State of Grace for Pepsi, just to say.
What's
a hot dog stand, aye.
A hot dog fan? Michael Jackson's hair went on fire.
His whole head went on fire.
Tell
His
the
whole
audience.
fucking head went on fire.
His head went on fire when he was doing this Pepsi advert back in the day. So it was nice to see him getting back on the horse finally and doing an LA Gear ad, which he get paid with something like $7 million for.
Which is nothing to him. Fuck all.
How about The Weight We Were? What about that? There's a wee segment called The Weight We Were about how people that are fat that aren't fat anymore. Simon Le Bon had lost a bit of weight. That's good to know.
Very... I think it even becomes more so as it progresses, but definitely already right at the very start has a lot of snidiness about it. The word, there's some tabloid shite that's in it, but also Terry's attitude is snidey. And what's her name? The female posh totty lassie just has an air about her as well. There's a real snidiness through the fabric of this show.
No, absolutely true.
Did you spot Bianca for EastEnders in a Clearasil advert?
No, I didn't spot that. I like Bianca for EastEnders, by the way. She was somebody I always liked. So let me tell you this. So Shayna Shulman turns up. Now, she wants to talk about crystals, healing crystals and stuff like that, which Terry Christine seems automatically quite snidey about.
I don't know why this lassie's agreed to do this segment, because they're just being snide about it, really, I think.
And then Bill Dean, so they go, what 70-year-old man? What 70-year-old man could we lie down on this thing with to do some crystals with? And so they trying to make Bill Dean feel happier, don't they, with the crystals. So while they're doing that, we go away to Amanda Decadeny. Now, Amanda Decadeny has been in Grimsby. They were filming Memphis Belle at the time, right?
Fucking weird segment.
So there's a weird segment about the extras who worked on this. It's a really depressing segment of these people talking about when they were an extra in Memphis Belle and then their bits get cut out and all of that in Grimsby. But then it goes to Amanda.
Most of them don't really like the film.
No, they don't really. They're a bit no comment. And then it goes to Amanda Decadeny, who is live from America.
Barely.
Live from America with the cast of Memphis Belle. And immediately the world has to apologise for poor picture quality because it looks like a fucking Doug's dinner. And then Amanda Decadeny gets to fire off one question, which is responded to in a really kind of snidey, way. And then it gets rained off. And it's a disaster and Terry Christine's panicking. And then he brings Les Miserable back, Ryan, and here is, I think, is the key moment of the episode.
What's that?
So these people from Blackpool are on a Blackpool tram and they're playing these kind of characters and they start eating worms and cockroaches. And I think this is the key element of this episode, because this is when the word starts to become the word, I think, right? Because I imagine...
The very first image that pops into my head, unfortunately, it's not any sexy stuff. When I think of the word, the very first image that pops into my head is somebody licking somebody's armpit.
Yeah.
Because ever since I saw that happening on the Word, because they go on later in the series to do a segment, like, was it like 15 seconds of fame or something
like that? Yeah.
Who wants to be famous, or 15 seconds of fame, where they go, members of the public on who would just literally do anything. They'll eat vomit, they'll lick armpits, they'll anything filthy and disgusting they'll do just to get on the telly. So this is the very first.
This is the start of that, because I would imagine there's nothing that happens on this show that would get a complaint for anybody. Nothing.
Complain about how, I mean, no.
Until 5 o'clock dinner time, somebody's there eating cockroaches. Like, and I imagine that probably got a lot of complaints. And then they probably went, oh, a reaction. We got a reaction, let's push it out. That feels like where it happens. So it's an interesting episode to watch for that point of view, where you kind of go, here's the thing where they're pushing things a wee bit into the area that we'll get to know the Word for. By the way, that interview with Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's a fucking gentleman, isn't he?
He always is. Always carries himself. I don't want to get too fucking Joe Rogan about this, but I think that when you have a work ethic like that, and when you're a physical specimen like that, you're going to be a nice person. You're going to be, because you're so hard working.
Yeah, Putin's in pretty good shape.
Is he?
Yeah.
What fucks that up, man?
But Schwarzenegger, he comes across as a gentleman. He's promoting Total Recall. No wonder he's in a good mood, man.
Living the life. He's living the life.
He's living the life. He's Sharon Stone. They talk about Sharon Stone
briefly.
Getting
paid about 10 grand to stand on this fucking balcony for 10 minutes and talk to this wee weedy guy.
His film, maybe no. Sharon Stone, they talk about for 2 seconds. They don't even mention her by name, didn't they know? Because nobody knows who she is yet at this point. The film is about to come out, and it's just it's just interesting seeing that, and then The Farm come on and play us out at the end. Dreadful.
Fucking terrible.
That kind of music, or that The Farm and Happy Mondays and all that stuff, it's fucking no for me.
Happy Mondays might have something good. I can't mind that fan, but aye.
What did you make it?
As I say, I had the thought that I wished maybe we'll go back. It sticks around for a long time, the Word, so maybe a particular episode. It would be nice to have a look at it later when it's in full swing.
When Katie Puckrick's there.
Oh, Katie. It'd be nice to go back to it probably when it's gathered steam. But I thought it was an interesting watch. I definitely wasn't entertained by it. It was shite. It was definitely shite. And at times very annoying, and as I say, snidey as well. But it also gave me that feeling of, I miss this anarchic feeling.
I feel like scrappy live TV just doesn't exist anymore. Scrappy live TV is gone.
It just can't. It's a different world.
But why can it not exist?
Because we've all got cameras on our phones now, so it's just not as eventful as it used to be.
Yeah, maybe there is an element of that. It's
a different world.
It's sad though, isn't it? It's sad though, because I do like that energy of him, the host, shitting his cell. And it's a difficult thing. Like when I was filming Games Master, it's the only time I've ever worked with a earpiece in, where the director and all that thing were all talking in your ear. And that was just shot as live. It wasn't live, obviously, but it was shot as live. And I was just thinking to myself, Games Master was fucking easy compared to something like The Word, because I was just reading off an auto cue. I wasn't reading off an auto cue, obviously, when I was interviewing people, but it's still, if you were going out live doing that, you must be absolutely fucking shitting yourself. That's tough work.
It's a lot all hinging on you. Do you remember the music show? The music show was a BBC Scotland show that they made at the same time as they made the Video Guide and the show that we made. A lot of the same production team were involved, but they had a presenter who was new to presenting. And I remember watching the studio. We were there when they were doing studio shots, so there's a whole big studio audience and they've got crane shots and everything, and she had the thing with the earpiece. But I remember watching her a few times like fuck it up, like a few times in a row, and I was like dying inside just watching her having to do that. I couldn't imagine being in that position. So as I say, I think Terry does a decent job, as much as he's a twat.
Wow. Let's get some games on to wipe the palette clean.
Wash the
palette clean.
Right, we're going to get a wee bit obscure here. So in 1990, there was a movie released in Japan called Zippang. or The Legend of Zippang. It was a Japanese fantasy film set in the Edo period, and it starred Masahiro Takashima as Jigoku Gokuraku Maru. Here he is here, slashing everybody. Now, why am I telling you this? Why am I telling you about this? Well, this is a PC Engine game called Zippang that is a tie-in to that movie and released in 1990 alongside that movie. And I'm about to tell you that this is one of the best games you will ever play. And I bet you've never heard it. But you're going to notice something once this game starts. Let's see how quick you can notice it. And this is one of these wee things that separates the sheep from the goats, you know what I mean, when it comes to video game knowledge. See, here we go. Zippang. Here's your wee man down here, and what he can do is he can jump and break blocks with his head, and his sword he can destroy blocks and magically create blocks with his sword. And some of you out there are going, Rab, this is Solomon's Key. And you'd be right. It is Solomon's Key, and we all know that Solomon's Key is just one of the best video games ever made. I don't think there's ever been a bad Solomon's Key game. But what they've done here is they've taken Solomon's Key, they've done a version of it, but styled it after this film Zippang. So they've given it this Edo period lick of paint. The game looks beautiful, fantastic music, and it isn't just a reskin of Solomon's Key. I mean, there's new stuff here, there's some puzzles you'll recognise, but there's a lot of new levels added. As a big fan of Solomon's Key, when I found out that this game existed, I made it my life's goal to get a copy, because I was just so excited by the fact that there was a version of Solomon's Key that was so different for the source material, but just as great as the source material. And for any of you out there who don't know what Solomon's Key is, it's a puzzle game, really. It's a puzzle game where you navigate these puzzle levels to find your way to a key that opens a door, then find your way to that door. And on the way there, you're going to have to deal with enemies by trapping them, by finding ways to avoid them. The game is just a wonderful time, and it's really thoughtful. That's what I love about this game. I spend a lot of time playing this game, just pausing, thinking, playing. It has a password thing so you can save your progress. Oh man. And it's called Zippang, and I bet you've never heard of Zippang before. This is why you watch CVXX. This is why you listen to CVXX. This is why Guff exists.
These might be the best 20 minutes of our lives that we're about to experience here.
In 1990, Steven Seagal turned around to his wife, Kelly LeBrock, and he went like that, "Want to make a film?"
He probably went, "Do you want to make a film?"
and they then proceeded to make the film Hard to Kill.
Let's go, guys. I'm missing the Oscars.
I was very confused at the start of Hard to Kill because one of the first things you see in it is the Chief of Police celebrating Ben Kingsley winning an Oscar. And I was like, why would the Chief of Police be going, yeah, at Ben Kingsley winning an Oscar? It was so fucking weird. And then I forgot, obviously, there's a time skip in this, and they were just trying to establish what was a thing that happened. What was a thing that happened 7 years ago that everybody knows about. Ben Kingsley won the Oscar. That's the kind of intellectual level that this film operates on.
The Oscars is mentioned a few times in this film.
Oh, it really is.
I think he was maybe thinking, if I mention it enough times, maybe they'll
think about me. They'll consider me. So the storyline of Hard to Kill is Steven Seagal is trying to take down these criminals, crooked cops and all that.
That title of Hard to Kill, by the way, is well earned.
It is well earned.
He deserves that title.
So the baddies come from, he films the baddies, and the baddies come from, and they do in his wife and his son, and he looks like he's dead as well, but actually he's no. He gets whisked away. He's in a coma for 7 years, getting looked after by the nurse, Kelly LeBrock. And then eventually he comes back out his coma because this boy's hard to kill, let me tell you.
Yes.
And he goes, I'm going to sort all these guys out. I'm going to take all these guys to the bank. Right, that's essentially what Hard to Kill is. That's the story of Hard to Kill.
The baddie senator guy, I ruined it.
This is a fucking spoiler right away.
Says about Seagal, I don't want him to get another hour older. I thought that was really fucking cool.
That's a
But
cool
he didn't even
one.
realise how hard to kill
Seagal talks. The most talking Seagal does in this film is at the start when he's talking to himself to explain what's going on. That's 'cause
and talking about the Oscars as well.
There's a weird bit as well, right? So Seagal goes into a shop at the start, right? And there's an old guy behind the counter, and he says, Seagal says to the guy, "Where's your champagne?" And the guy goes, it's over there beside our caviar.
That's not the first thing I asked him.
What was the first thing I asked him?
Why you know watching the Oscars?
So he does why you know watching Oscars. What's fucking bananas? And he goes, aye, champagne. It's over there beside the caviar. And they laugh not, and then he goes, "That's over there."
Well, I've actually got it.
He makes a joke like, "Why would I have fucking champagne?" And he goes, "Oh, they have champagne. It's in the back." Don't know what's fucking going on with this.
So after that, he goes into the back. Some thugs come into the shop, which you've seen 10 million times in cop films before.
And we know what happens. Hold on, we know what happens in this scene when the baddies come in and they hassle the guy at Watson shop and the cops there. The cop fucking sorts them out and saves the guy, right? What happens in this film?
What do you mean?
What happens in this film? What normally happens is the cops in the shop and the baddies come in and start hassling the shop owner while the cop's in. And then the cop wanders out, and what normally happens is the cop sorts out the fucking bad guys before any harm comes to the fucking guy at Watson shop. What happens in this film?
I mean, he did sort them out.
He stands there and watches the fucking guy get shot. He doesn't do anything until after they've killed him.
Well, I mean, I'm guessing that's just a timing thing, but I know you're right.
He's fucking standing there watching it.
But you'll notice that he didn't engage with the guys until he was standing about 3. The gun was like touching. So you're meant to be impressed that Seagal uses his Aikido on the guy, but the guy is literally standing right next to, like, touching him with a gun. Wait, this double barrel shotgun.
I can't get over the fact Seagal stands there and watches this guy get done in. He watches this guy, who I'm assuming because
he's not fast enough. He's not fast enough.
Wait a minute. He spends the rest of the film establishing how fucking fast he is.
He tries.
Steven Seagal stands there and watches this guy get fucked. A guy who he's obviously known for years because they're joking with each other and all that. He's gone like, "Why you know watching Oscars and that?" And then he just stands there and watches them getting fucking shot. And then I'll tell you something else. See, after he sorts the guys out and all that and he fights the guy afterwards, he's fucking fine with the guy getting shot, isn't he? He's like, there is no emotional impact on him. He goes back with his... But anyway, he'll talk about karma because he goes home with his champagne, didn't he? Right?
He does.
And
it's a fucking shame what happens, by the way.
By the way, so there's something amazing about Steven Seagal's house. See, when you turn the light off, it turns into a photography darkroom.
What the fuck is that red light on about? It's not even in the next scene. It turns into...
He turns the corner and it's away.
Aye. Whose idea was that?
He comes home with a champagne to his missus.
Who's sexy?
So she's sexy.
Of course she's fucking
and
sexy.
She immediately wants... She's had a hard day with the rain and all that while he's been at work, but she immediately wants to have sex with him. Because how would you know? And then he comes home and... and then the baddies come in and...
He has an interaction with the Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
And... That's always important to a film when a film's trying to do, like, you remember fucking Cop's attempt at
James
Woods and Cop trying to establish a wee bit of chemistry and a wee bit of humanity with this Wayne, and it just no working at all. So to be fair to Steven Seagal, that's a decent wee interaction it has with the Wayne. Aye,
it is. There's weird things that happen in this film where I kind of go, I know everybody goes Steven Seagal's a monster, right? And he's an arsehole now. But
is he not just an idiot though? Is he not just a big idiot?
I think he's just a bullshit. I don't know. I would love to talk to Kelly LeBrock one day and say, tell me some stories about fucking Seagal. So anyway, he gets shot. It all happens. He's in a fucking bed. He's got a big beard. He's been 7 years in a coma.
He makes love to... Does he make love to his wife?
Of course he does.
Of course he does. Almost as soon as he's making love to his wife, which happens in the later love scenes that are in this film, there's a few of them, almost as soon as the love scene starts, Seagal's got his hands on her tits.
Yeah,
I've noticed he's zoned straight. He's a tit man. He's straight for the tits.
there's
He actually looks like a tat man as well. Like I would have guessed, like ponytail.
Oh, yeah, 100% that
He's a tat
ponytail.
man. He runs like a tat man.
So anyway, 7 years in a coma. He hasn't shaved, and then eventually, so then Kelly LeBrock turns up, right?
She's
Now,
a nurse.
Kelly LeBrock is, for me back then, was just one of the most beautiful people that ever walked the planet. You slag off Steven Seagal all you want, but he pulled Kelly LeBrock, so what can you can't really argue with that, can you?
I don't know what she's like as a person, but she has a spectacularly good look.
Kelly LeBrock says in an interview, I met this guy, he knew how to speak Chinese, he did thing me, he was into philosophy and all of that kind of stuff. It was like, he was irresistible. I could get that maybe, I don't know what the deal was, you know. But anyway, Kelly LeBrock's there, she's gorgeous, right?
But look at the way he fucking runs.
First thing Kelly LeBrock says to her is, wouldn't you like a little pussy? She says, he's in a coma.
She's no subtle, she's gone after it.
Wouldn't you like a little pussy? But
He's been in a coma for years and she's been caring for him, so this has been on her mind for a while.
Yeah, she fancies him. She fancies this guy that's in the coma. Wouldn't you like a little pussy? But it's actually a wee kitten that she's got. So it's just a wee joke that she's playing out for. And then...
Well, I'm not going to be able to just brush it over.
What?
Steven Seagal's been in this coma. Is it 7 years he's been in this coma? Now, Steven Seagal hasn't lost a single pound.
No.
Being in
he's maybe gained a pound. He's maybe gained.
I'm pretty sure, I might have imagined it, but I'm pretty sure I can almost see glue on that beard that he's got on his face, and he's maybe put on weight somehow by not using his limbs for 7 years lying in a bed.
I don't know who wrote this film, but I can guarantee it was Steven Seagal's idea for Kelly LeBrock to, while he's in a coma, for Kelly LeBrock to look under the blankets at his dick and say, oh, please wake up. Because he's got a giant dick, obviously because he's Steven Seagal. That was so anyway, he wakes up and then immediately he's like, you need to get me out of here because the baddies are going to come and get me. And then there's a bed chase in there. It's the first bed chase in the history of cinema. This guy in a coma dragging himself about.
He's a martial arts expert, this guy, Steven Seagal.
He's dragging himself about on a bed getting chased by the baddie. And there's a lot of sad deaths in this film, right? So this is
hitman that's following him is the worst hitman I've ever seen in any film. He's killing everybody. It's a killing spree.
He's touching everything, walking all over. He's a nightmare. But there's a lot of sad deaths. So obviously the shopkeeper get killed at the start, and you're thinking that poor old guy didn't do anybody any harm. And then there's Seagal's family, and then there's this lovely guy that's giving him a massage.
The happy guy.
This nice wee guy that's giving him a massage. You're like, don't kill him. Why kill him? He gets fucking killed and all. I just don't think it's a right thing to do tonally, because I'm feeling really negative about all these. It's all good, nice people that have been killed so far.
That's why we need Seagal. That's why we need him back on his feet, because the reality of this world is that there's evil out there. Right? That's just the reality.
Anyway, the escape. I'm just going into spoiler territory with this.
Go for it.
The escape. He ends up going home with her now. Luckily, she's looking after somebody's house.
Again, it feels as if we've skipped over that bed chase again. They're attempting to make this a tense, like a car chase, except Steven Seagal, who's just woken up from a 7-year coma, who's got a beard stuck on his face, is dragging himself about in a hospital bed. Yeah, that's supposed to be
pulling himself into a lift in the bed,
with pushing buttons with a walking stick and stuff. This is an action film, and it's supposed to be tense.
This hitman,
and the hitman can't catch him.
Can he catch a guy in a bed? The guy is moving about in a bed, and can he catch him? He'd be getting his fucking books, if you ask me.
But not only does he not get his books, the hitman goes for that scene trying to bump off Seagal to go on to meet this senator. The senator guy gives a speech at a podium and then goes next to the podium, has a discussion with an assassin that's happened and a load of other criminals in the fucking middle of the street next to the podium that he'd just been. Is this meant to be a secret that he's the baddie?
They're at it. Seagal goes home with Kelly LeBrock and he starts all his fucking garbage. He's like, he tells Kelly LeBrock to go and get him some herbs. He writes it in fucking Chinese for her. He writes, take that, go and get. Why? So that we know he can write Chinese, right? So he goes, gets herbs, eats some fucking cocoa noodles. He does acupuncture at his cell, which is, of course, a lot of shite. Anybody out there who believes in acupuncture, but it's a lot of fucking nonsense. So he does acupuncture now. Not only does he do acupuncture, but he also puts wee things on the end of the acupuncture. And those wee smoky bits come out. I don't know what the fuck he's doing.
He's mysterious.
He runs up a mountain.
Does it? Well,
a hill.
Mm-hmm. He runs up that hill in a way that I've never seen any other human running, and then they have a shot of him at the top of the hill, and it looks as if the shot of him at the top of the hill 2 days after he'd done that running scene.
Here's the thing about Steven Seagal: he's not an athletic man.
Nah,
he just doesn't seem athletic.
No,
obviously in Nico, which is his first film, he does a lot of running about the streets and it kind of works in it because he's not an athletic looking runner, but he's an intimidating looking runner. If he was running towards you, you'd think, I'm in trouble here because I don't know if this guy's going to be able to stop himself. But you think, I'm in trouble here.
Like, mind Boris Johnson when he heat-butted that guy in that football game because he couldn't stop running forward as Steven Seagal.
I feel like that would be Seagal. He's an Aikido master, as we all know, right? But he's maybe the first Aikido master who looks like he doesn't have any control over his own body.
I'm not convinced by Aikido, to be honest. There's a lot of stunning about it. I don't know what happens when you put Aikido against like other martial art forms. I don't know how well it compares.
Well, obviously you're a guy who watches UFC. How many UFC champions have been Aikido masters?
None. There was a really, really... I forget who it was, but there was a champion maybe about... God, it might have been 6-7 years ago, but then who got a visit for Seagal, it was kind of an amusing talking point at the time that Seagal had met the guy, but was automatically given advice to this MMA champion about good Aikido techniques to use.
I mean, I respect his, I respect his confidence in himself. He punches a plank so hard that the plank fires right out the earth.
None of that. Like that training is so unconvincing.
It's so bad.
It does him damage.
Oh yeah, him swinging these sticks about and then doing the arm strikes.
No rhythm or
nothing.
It doesn't look as if it's a thing he practices. It just looks as if it's a thing that he thought he could get away with making look cool.
But there's something weird, right? So you look at a Jean-Claude Van Damme film, right? And you see Van Damme doing his training stuff or doing his fighting or whatever, right? And it's fucking impressive, right? It's impressive stuff. I'd rather fight Van Damme than Seagal.
For sure, you don't want to get up close with Seagal. The thing is,
but I don't know if he would. I think it's just Seagal believes he can batter everybody, and I think the main thing about Seagal is his belief. I don't think it just doesn't look skillful at all. I could be completely wrong, and if anybody knows anything about martial arts, please let me know. But this does not look convincing, any of this stuff.
In the very few months that I did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, there was a black belt in the gym that I went to, and he was an older guy. I won't say...
It was about a year he did it, by the way, wasn't it? A few months.
He had a nickname, this black belt, and I won't, because it'll be automatically identifiable if I tell you what the nickname was. But he was a guy like in his early 50s maybe, and he'd been doing it for decades, and he's a black belt, and undoubtedly he was knowledgeable in jiu-jitsu, but he used to do a thing when he would get stuck, like when there would be people who were giving him trouble. I saw he would do a thing where he would force his head into the person's head. Like, you're always on the mat in jiu-jitsu, well, most of the time you're on the mat, and he would literally just use the pressure of his skull against the other person's skull to get them to release. It's something that when they work against higher level opponents, but it was something that he would do whenever he was having trouble, and it makes me think that it's something that Seagal would hurt you deliberately to prove a point. That's the impression I get.
100%. And Seagal, I feel like, would have no compassion about the fact he's going to hurt you. Like, I feel like if you went up against Van Damme would maybe go, I need to stop hitting this wee baldy guy.
He would sting you and let you know, but then you would know.
Like, he'd laugh and he'd go, let's get a drink or something. Whereas I feel as if Seagal would teach you a lesson for even questioning whether he's an athletic man. Right? So we've established that. See when he punches that plank out there, do you know what Kelly LeBrock's got to say about that? She goes, Mason Storm. That's the name of his character. Mason Storm.
Mason Storm.
There follows a weird sex scene, and I was thinking, why in this sex scene with this man and his wife, his real wife, is it so awkward? And then I made an observation about Kelly LeBrock in this movie, and I want you to hear me out here because I've got a theory. Kelly LeBrock, again, not to labour the point, one of the most beautiful women who ever walked the earth, is in your movie, which is like a kind of B movie, kind of action, exploitation-y kind of genre movie, right?
Yep.
And Kelly LeBrock is in a sexy outfit in literally one scene in this film, and that's in that sex scene.
Mm-hmm.
And she's in a sexy outfit where it's like this dress and it's kind of get these revealing kind of, but you never see her full body in it either as well. You only see a wee bit. For the rest of the film, she's in cardigans, jumpers, high neck thingies and stuff like that. And I genuinely think Steven Seagal has went,
that's mine.
You're no fucking wearing that.
Mm-hmm.
I think Steven Seagal said, you're going to be covered up. We have a sexy bit. It's going to be a scene with me. I think also he's reluctant for it to be too extreme because it's there with his wife. I imagine Steven Seagal is not wanting to share Kelly LeBrock with in the form that it would have, you know, you would imagine she would be sexier and more out there in a film like this and she would be in some of the other stuff that
it makes good business sense.
Yeah, and yet she's very buttoned up for this movie. So that's my theory. My theory is he was like, I fucking know what yous are wanting. That's my wife!
Right, what else happened? We're going to have to be fast here. What else happened? Running, I just can't get to that running. The fact that I've seen these Seagal films before with like training montages in it and stuff, and it hasn't registered with me. Look at the way he's running.
Sexiest Man Alive 1990 Tom Cruise. Look at how he runs.
He's a good runner, is he not?
Yeah, he's fucking incredible.
He's athletic.
Yeah, he's incredible. And you look at the way Seagal runs, but then he's always saying, let me run.
He's honestly running
he
as
wants
if
to run.
I don't think he does. I think he has to
He's putting these into these films, him running. He's got to be. He's got to be. He's put everything else into this film. Everything that happens in this film is to make him look good. So he thinks he looks good running.
He's turned up to do the scene and then say to somebody offset, what is running? Like what is, and he's had to have the concept of running explained to him, and then he's done an imitation of what has just been explained to him. That's what it looks like.
Also, no, but he thinks that's his thing. It's like when the love scene with Kelly LeBrock, he makes no sexual advances to Kelly LeBrock at any point.
It's all her.
Kelly LeBrock finds him fucking irresistible. It's all her. Anyway, Steven Seagal works out far later than everybody else on the planet who the baddie is in this film.
True.
Because at the very start of the film, a guy saying you can take that to the bank, and then this guy says you can take that to the bank all the time.
Yeah.
That's how he puts it together. And when he sees the guy on the telly saying you can take that to the bank, Steven Seagal says...
This is a line that stuck with us for a long time.
We've said this for years.
I'm going to take you to the bank.
On you go.
I'm going to take you to the bank. The blood bank.
Now, I've always had a problem with this line in that you don't get hurt when you go to the blood bank.
No, they give you a cookie.
They give you a wee biscuit and you give some blood, or if you're getting blood at the blood bank is to save your life. What kind of threat is saying to somebody you're going to take them to the blood bank? It doesn't work, does it? But nobody's said to him, you can't be on a set with Steven Seagal and go, Steve, I don't know about the logic of that.
I don't remember as well. I thought there was other people present when he says that in the film, but he's actually just in a room by himself when he says it.
Then he starts snapping everybody's arms and all that.
That's violent, isn't it? Quite violent.
That's when the fighting starts. He's snapping people's arms, and this is why people like Seagal. We guys like seeing arms getting snapped.
Fucking 70% of this film, 80% of this film is just set up. It's just set up to what's going to happen at the end.
Yep. So there's a big build up to all the fighting. There's loads of pink lighting everywhere, which I quite like. I really like the lighting towards the end. And interestingly, Steven Seagal's memories of his family fascinated me. He goes back to his house at one point, his old house, and he has memories of his family. But his memories of his family are consist of only that night that we saw. Only that night we saw. That's the only memories, as if he only spent one night with his family.
Well, that's all we filmed.
Was that? And the ending of the film, Ryan, I have to say, was absolutely rotten.
Utter shite. I don't know why I don't remember it being as bad as it is, but I was really expecting something more impressive than what. what happened.
That was State of Grace, which we talked about in the last episode, has a far more satisfying kind of action ending than a fucking Steven Seagal film.
That's an action scene now at the end of State of Grace. That fucking thing with the Jeep. I do remember the first time I saw it that there was loads of continuity errors, and they're still there. There's lots of continuity errors. The Jeep, like the driver of the Jeep changes sides at certain points of the chase.
Yeah.
Bits of the windscreen, like there's loads of continuity errors, but it's crap. It's really crap.
Seagal's just the simple fact of the matter is Seagal's fight scenes were never good enough.
Nah.
You never looked forward to it in the same way as you. And if you watch a Jackie Chan film, you were excited for the ending.
Nico, you're watching it kind of going like, is this a gangster film? Is this a cop gangster film? So in that kind of setting, like in close quarters, like it works for him, but in a proper action movie where like you could have a Van Damme or something like that, nah.
I do like Out for Justice though, in Steven Seagal's defence. I do like that.
You like Under Siege as well?
Yeah, I like Under Siege. I like Steven Seagal. I like watching him. I like the energy of him. I like his confidence, and I like all it. And I hope you've liked CVXX. That's us wrapping up.
Have we done all our games bits for this episode? I've lost count. If we haven't, the other bits will go right fucking here.
The day has finally arrived. I picked Speedball 2 as my number 10th favourite game of all time when we did our top 100s on the YouTube a few years ago. I'm too lazy to fact check myself, but I'm pretty sure it might be the only, if not the only, it's definitely one of the very few games that appeared on my list, Robert's list and Jerry's list. For many, many people, I think, that I know anyway, Speedball 2 is the greatest Amiga game that was ever made. So what happens in it? Well, it's a future sport and it rewards violence. You'll see the game in a minute. I've done the same thing. I think I like the music of this game. It's a future sport that rewards violence. You get 10 points for a goal. You get 2 points if you hit the stars or you hit that dome. On the left and right hand side of the arena there, you will see score multipliers. That's what I'm going for. No. You might also notice that I don't seem to be in any bother in this game. I seem to be kind of walking it through. That's because I've employed my own tactic. Everybody has different tactics. I definitely remember that Jerry was saying that he much preferred when he was in competitions in Speedball 2 to train the default guys. Now I get that, I definitely have been on that journey plenty of times and trained up the guys myself, but you can't beat saving up a wee bit of coin, going to the transfer market and getting a good centre forward and just smashing fuck out of worse teams than you, because that's what it's all about. It rewards violence. So that's what I've done here, and that's why I seem to be so comfortably in control, because I've got one good star player and this other mob aren't very good anyway. I say they're not very good. The Renegades, there's no the Renegades, just Renegades. They're about a middling team in the Division 2. They're better than me, but and clip this if you want, because you won't hear me say it very often, I'm really good at this game. I'm actually really, really good at this game. And I'm willing to back that up. I'm not just saying that, I'm willing to back that up. So if there's anybody out there that thinks that I'm not really good at this game, well, you better step up. You know what I mean? You better keep quiet or step up. And if you do step up, you just remember, this game rewards violence. Division 2, for such an experienced Speedball 2 player like me, is a walkover. Division 1's a different story, because you can get an unlucky roll of the dice sometimes where you haven't got the funds when you need them, like if Jams shows up, or Selena, or some of the very, very top tier players, Jensen. If you don't have the money at the time and you miss out on buying the players, it can be difficult to compete with your Fatal Justices, and especially Super Nashwan, who are statistically the best team in Speedball 2. I don't know if the door has closed for new Speedball 2 players. I don't know if the time has just now passed, but I still, to this day, think it's a fantastic game. So tight, so satisfying to play, so compelling. To my memory, more than any other game, it's left me wanting more. I want more leagues, I want more content. But Speedball 2 still has the bones, it has just about the bones of a really incredible game. I play through both leagues, which is the most time intensive way of playing Speedball 2 would probably take you. An experienced player, it would take a few hours. And what a few hours they are. What a journey Speedball 2 is to go on. Now existing in the CVXX universe is Speedball 2 one of the best games ever made.
And that's 1990. We'll be back next time when we're in 1991 and we're heading straight down the gullet, straight into the fucking gut of the 90s. Thank you to Guft.
Support us.
And thanks for all our supporters. Like and subscribe. Don't forget to, as my wee twin daughter says nowadays, don't forget to describe.